everyone, my name is Angela Galloway and I'm going to be your STA220 instructor for this semester. So what I'm going to do in this video is give you a quick overview of our Blackboard page, what to find on the Blackboard page, and then also how to get into our MyLabsPlus page, which is where you'll find your homework, quizzes, and tests, and where you'll probably be spending most of your time in our class. So first, I'm going to go to our Blackboard page, and so you'll see that here. You should see something similar to this for your Blackboard page. And so up here where the page will always open is on the announcements. And so if you're a lecture class, then we may have announcements sporadically. If you're an online class, then I definitely will try to post at least once a week, just reminding you of due dates. Of course, if you're in my lecture class, I kind of can do that in class and tell you things that are coming up, but I'll still make sure to send reminders. Anytime I do put an announcement on Blackboard, it will send to your email as well. So just be sure that you're checking your school email in your Blackboard page regularly throughout the week, just to see if anything has changed or to make sure that you know about upcoming due dates. Then you can also find the syllabus here. There is a syllabus quiz that you need to take the first week of the semester, and so it'll be due on Friday of the first week. So you can click on this and then read through the syllabus. And the things you want to see on the syllabus, you can find my office hours on there. You can also see kind of the things that we're going to cover in this class, all these different competencies. What most students are going to look at are what's required for the class. So you'll notice that it says that you need MyLabsPlus. That's something that you've already paid for when you enrolled in the class. That was automatically added to your tuition bill. So you've already paid for that and should already have access. You don't need any access codes. You don't need to go to the bookstore for that. It'll just automatically be loaded for you into Blackboard. A graphing calculator would be helpful. Most of you have probably just taken college algebra, and so you may still have your graphing calculator from that class. If you don't have a graphing calculator, I would say it's somewhat necessary to get one. However, if you would rather use Excel to do some of the homework, or if you want to use the StatCrunch, which comes with the MyStatLab, you can do that. And so I wouldn't say you have to buy a calculator, but that is how most of my videos are set up, is showing you how to use the graphing calculator to help us solve the problems. So that's kind of up to you. We don't use the graphing calculator much in chapter 1 and 2, but then chapter 3 through chapter 10, we're going to use it a lot. So if you're thinking about buying one and maybe need a few weeks to get the money for that, then you definitely still have a little time before we're going to be using it often. Okay. Now at the very bottom here, that's where you kind of get into what our class setup is. So what our grading consists of, and then our schedule, when things are due, and then at the end, just kind of some information about our class. And then make sure you read through that before you take the syllabus quiz, because the syllabus quiz does have questions that you would find the answers to in the syllabus. So it says here, course information, start here. That's a good place to start, right? This tells the course description of the class, so what our class is all about. You can find my instructor information, so some information about me, and this also has my office hours and my contact info at the very bottom, so you can look for that instead of having to, look back through the syllabus. Here's your syllabus again, and then this is the syllabus quiz that I was talking about. You do need to take that by Friday of the first week of the course, which would be next Friday or January 15th, depending on when you're watching this. And you do need to make 100% on the quiz before you can move on. So make sure you do that. You can take it as many times as you need to, but we do need to have 100% for each student. If you don't take it and you don't get that 100%, then you can be dropped from the course. So make sure you work on that until you get your 100% that you need. And then there's a few other things on there. This course info, you may go through a few times throughout the semester, maybe if you're looking for my instructor info or whatever, but it's mainly stuff that you'll be looking at the beginning of the course. Here's our course schedule, which is just the same due dates that you would have seen in the syllabus. And so this is a good place to look at if you're quickly wanting to know, like, what are we supposed to be doing this week, or am I on track? And so you can look through this. As far as how the due dates and everything work, I have the due date set. So here where it says Sunday, January 24th is when chapter 1 and 2 are due. That means all the homework for chapter 1, the quiz for chapter 1, all the homework for chapter 2, the quiz for chapter 2, and then the unit 1 test, which would cover chapter 1 and chapter 2. All of that is due on January 24th. So some people may wait till January 22nd to start it all. I wouldn't recommend that. I would hope that you would do, in the first week, get some of chapter 1 done, second week, chapter 2, and then you're ready to take that unit 1 exam on the weekend, or, whatever works with your schedule. So make sure you're pacing yourself so that you're not kind of putting it all to the very last possible due date that you can work on it. Now, if you do actually end up not completing something by the due date, you can still work on past due assignments, and there is a 5% grade reduction for that. It's not 5% per day. It's just if you work on it a day after the due date or 20 days after the due date, it's just a 5% total reduction. So if you made 100% on an assignment, you would only get credit for a 95% because you would get that 5% grade reduction. We do have a midterm and a final in this class. So the midterm you would be working on over spring break. And then the final exam you'll be working on down here, and that would be due May 9th. All right, so what you'll be using for the class most likely is going to these class notes and videos. The class notes here will show you all the notes we have by chapter. If you're in my lecture class, then I will have these printed out for you and you will fill them in while we're in class. If you happen to miss a class, then you can go here and see what we finished that day. If you're in my online class, then of course you'll just have the copies here that you can look through. You can print them off if you would like to. And then we also have videos for every chapter. So this will just open up my YouTube page, and the easiest way to kind of navigate through this is just looking at the different playlists. So if you're starting out, then you would want to go to the Unit 1 playlist here, and it just shows you all the videos I have that pertain to Chapter 1. So there's definitely going to, or Unit 1, there's definitely going to be a Chapter 1 notes video, a Chapter 2 notes video, but then I'll also add videos as people maybe ask questions about specific topics, or maybe a calculator tutorial or something that I think might be helpful. I'll save it in there as well. Okay, here's the MyLabs assignment list. And so I made this just so everyone was aware of, what is expected to be done for each unit and each chapter. So this just shows all the assignments that you should be working on for each chapter and each unit. So if you wanted to print this out, also you could print it out and kind of, be checking what you finished, check off when you finish something so you don't accidentally forget a quiz or a test or something. All right, we have formula sheets here. These are nice to print off if you want. These are actually straight from the book, so you can find them in the e-textbook as well. But this has all the charts and tables that you need and all the formulas that go along with each chapter. A lot of those formulas you won't necessarily need to memorize or use because we're going to do a lot of things on the calculator. So for that reason, you don't have to worry so much about the formulas, but there are times that you want to kind of know how something's done, or maybe you're doing some of the things without the calculator, and that's how, or that's where you can find all of those. The calculator tutorials are just some additional YouTube videos done by other people that I think are good instructions for how to use the calculator. So that is what you can find there. And then Khan Academy, you may already know about. That's just a free resource, talks about basically anything math related. And so if you have a question about a specific topic, you can go there and just type in what you're wanting help on. All right, the next thing that you'll want to look at least once a week is the weekly review. And so the weekly review is really just a summary of what we went over that week. It's going to help me to see how well you're understanding the topics, and then also making sure that you're staying on track with the schedule of due dates, and that you are kind of staying on top of everything that's due for that week so that you don't get behind later on. So right now I just have week 1 and week 2 in there. I'll obviously be adding ones as we go, but these are just gonna sometimes be, I think week 2, we have one where it's like an article reviews. You read through a few articles and answer some questions about it. Sometimes it may just be a multiple choice, true, false type questions. It kind of just depends on what we've covered. So of course, week 1 mainly is just going to be some terminology. And so it just depends on what we've covered that week. But if you get to that weekly review and you realize, I don't really know what's going on in this one, then that might, make you realize what you need to study on and work on before the next week, right? So that's something that I'll update throughout the week. So there'll be one for every week. And then at the end of the semester, I'll drop your lowest grade from those weekly reviews before I calculate your total grade from that. Now, Blackboard grades really will just have your grades of things you did in Blackboard. So that would be your weekly review, your syllabus quiz. Most of your grades you're going to find in the MyLabsPlus. So MyLabsPlus, that's where you're going to go to find your homework, quizzes, and tests. Okay, so we're going to click on this. Right, so once you click on that, it should open up a new window, and you should see something like this telling you that you are in the STA220 class here. And you'll find over here on the left-hand menu all the things that you need to work through the course. So you would be starting with Unit 1, so you could click on that. And then what this shows you here kind of gives you links to everything you would need to work through this chapter. The first thing is it has little links for every single section that we would cover. So if you have a specific section you want to go to, or if you just want to start reading the e-text. Right, so the e-textbook here, you can, once you get into the book, either by clicking on those links or some other ways I'll show you later, you can just click through the pages. Anytime you see one of these here with the little earth and it says it's a you try it, you can open that. Now you do need, if you notice that there, the little error I got was that you need to allow pop-ups. So I know for a lot of websites we go to, we don't want pop-ups, but for this MyLabs to work correctly, you do need to allow pop-ups. So make sure you do that. Either you do the, disable, disable the pop-up blocker, or allow pop-ups, something like that. And there are some instructions in the MyLabs on how to do that depending on what type of computer you have and what browser you're using. But you can see here, this is just a you try it example that goes along with what they're talking about here. If you do this, it's not going to affect your homework grade or anything. This is just for extra practice, okay? So they're not ones that you have to do. But this is just like the regular textbook that you would buy. This is why I don't require you to buy a textbook unless you just really want to have the paper copy. Everything that you need is going to be here on this e-textbook, and it looks exactly like the actual textbook. And you can actually print pages, like if there's, if this helps you to understand the different types of sampling, maybe you print that page off and keep it with your notes, right? So you're still able to print those pages that you might need, but you don't have to pay the $100 or whatever it is to get the actual textbook. So you can get to the textbook by clicking one of these here to take you straight to a section, and then you can advance. The other way you can do that is down here on the menu, again, the left-hand menu, go to the e-textbook, and that will show you by chapter, all the chapters and sections. And again, you can just click on that to go to the e-textbook. So either way, we'll open that textbook for you. Now, after you've looked through the textbook or after you've looked at the lecture notes or the lecture videos, then you're ready to do the homework and quizzes. And so the homework and quizzes, everything for Unit 1 is listed out here. So these are all the assignments that you're expected to do for Unit 1. They always have the due date over here. All the due dates are always at 11:59 p.m. On a Sunday night. And that is Eastern time. So I know because we're in Kentucky, some students are on Eastern time and some are on Central time. So if you're here in Bowling Green, of course, we're Central time. So 11:59 would actually be 10:59 for us. Hopefully you're not working up until the very last minute of the due date, so that won't be a problem for you. But that's just something to think about, is that if you are here in the Central time zone, the 11:59 is actually 10:59. Now, what you'll also see here, you've got the due date, okay? And then over here, you have the time limit. So quizzes have a 70-minute time limit, and you have 3 attempts. You can do just 1 attempt, or you can try all 3 attempts. Only your best grade will count. So whatever quiz is the highest grade, that's what's going to count to your overall average. For test, you have a longer amount of time. You have 100 minutes, and you have 2 attempts. So even on test, you kind of can have 1 as a practice and then 1 as your grade, whatever you want to do. Or maybe you take it one time and you make a 92 and you're happy, right? And you can stop there. But you do have 2 attempts, and again, just the highest grade will count. For homework, you have unlimited attempts, so you can work on them as much or as little as you want. And some students really work hard on the homework and maybe try to get their homework average close to, 100%, because they can work on it as many times as they need. And then that's really helpful in your overall grade calculations. If you have a really high homework grade, that helps if you happen to get some low test grades or low quiz grades, or, wherever maybe you weren't able to get some of the grades you wanted, that homework grade can really pull up the rest of your grades. All right, so that would be the homework and quizzes. You can also click this to go to the test, but as you see, the test is also right here, so you can do it from there. Now, when we click into, let me just click into one of these homeworks. Every homework is going to be different. Some of them have maybe just 5 or 6 questions. Some of them might have a lot. In this first chapter, a lot of these are terminology things. So it's more multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank. So these aren't going to take you as long as later on when we're doing more of the advanced statistics and we're using our calculator and all that. They're not going to take you as long. So those later chapters probably won't have a homework with 20 questions in it. But you can click anywhere, and here you're just trying to choose what type of sampling is used here. Okay, now when you're working on this, you do have question help over here. So you can click on that. Help me solve this is going to take you step by step through this question and show you how you would solve it. And then it will give you another example after that that you have to solve. The textbook, another way you can get to the textbook is clicking here, and it'll take you to the section that this homework problem is discussing. StatCrunch, I mentioned earlier, StatCrunch looks a lot like Excel. So here's the StatCrunch, what it looks like. And up here, it has all the different, that's my cat, all the different things you might want to calculate. Maybe you want to calculate the mean and the median. And so for that, you would use the summary stats. There's lots of different things you can do in here. And so that's something you'll use later on, not so much in this chapter, but that is there in the question help. The tech help, again, you're not going to use much in the first chapters, but later on what that'll tell you about is maybe it'll link to a video on how to use your calculator or how to use StatCrunch, etc. The Ask My Instructor is the easiest way for you to contact me if you have a question about one of your homework problems. If you send that, if you do the Ask My Instructor, what it's going to do is it's going to send me this actual problem that you're working on, and then you can write something and say, I'm confused about this, or how do I use my calculator for this, and then send it to me. And of course I get it just as an email. And then I can see what you were working on and see what kind of questions you had about it. So that's a lot easier for me to respond to than for you to just write me an email saying, I don't understand chapter 1 homework. Because then I'm like, well, what part? Do you not understand how to get to it? Do you not understand any of it? So it's just easier if you send me that Ask My Instructor, because I can see specifically which problem you're having issues with. All right, and then some of the other stuff you'll see here, this study plan, as it says, it's just optional. So it really is just for extra study. If you have additional questions about how to do simple random sampling, you can go here and you can look up everything that has to do with that. Okay, so you go here to all chapters is the easiest way to get to it. All right, and then it shows every chapter. Let's say we're doing chapter 1 and we want to know about simple random sampling. Okay, so we could click on this and it would give us some extra help on how to get a simple random sample. Again, just like the You Try It's in the e-textbook, all of these are just extra assignments, so they're not anything that's going to count towards your homework grade or quiz grade. They're really just additional help for you if you feel like you need some extra practice on a topic. The multimedia library is also another place you could go for extra help. This is going to look at all the different videos and notes that they have from the textbook for a certain chapter. So I'm going to go to chapter 1, say I'm going to do all sections, and I want to find everything that's available to me to learn more about chapter 1. All right, and so then this has everything that's in the textbook that I can use. Okay, so there is something about random numbers, samples from a population, and then there's all the different things from the textbook. Now, as we get into later chapters, let's say like chapter 5, you're probably going to see a lot more stuff here, right? So now we see, there's a lot of them, right, for this one. You can see all these different things. There's also, like here, it kind of talks about how to use StatCrunch for chapter 5. There's a PowerPoint, usually that just has like terminology straight from the book. There's the textbook, there's some video lectures, and all these things just come straight from the textbook. They're not ones that I've created. They're just ones that Pearson has loaded from the textbook. So that's all found in the multimedia library. And then the tools for success. So there's lots of different, just extra, it's called Tools for Success, just extra things that might help you, different ways to learn how to use the calculator, StatCrunch, Excel. So if you are having problems with any of that stuff, this is a place to go into and just kind of see, maybe I can find something here that'll help me. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. But I just want you to know that there is a lot of help and extra things that you can use in the MyStatLab. So there's a lot of information that you can use here in the MyLabsPlus. However, I know there's some students that just go straight to the homework and they do their homework. They may never even read the e-textbook. They just use my lecture notes and videos, and that's good enough for them, and they get through the class great. So it just kind of depends on the student. Everybody's different with how they learn. Some students like to read through the textbook and then do the homework. Some students like to go straight to the homework, and then as they have questions in the homework, maybe look back at lecture videos or look through the textbook. So that's all up to you. You're not required to use the textbook or the videos or the lecture notes, but they're all there to help you through the class. Okay. So I hope that was a good video, just kind of giving you a somewhat quick summary of how you're going to use our Blackboard and our MyLabsPlus course. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to email me at angela.galloway@kctcs.edu. For the spring semester, most of my office hours will be virtual, and we use Microsoft Teams for that. So if you would like to meet with me virtually, you can just let me know and we can set up a Microsoft Teams appointment. I'll probably be on campus on Mondays. I think right now is when I'll probably have in-person office hours. And if you do want to meet with me on campus, then you can let me know that as well. Okay. So I'm looking forward to our semester, and I hope that you have a very successful spring 2021, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.